Hello, hello. In some big time breaking news here in the Real Take Sports and everywhere else, apparently. You got big breaking news about Ring of Honor. Yes, the company that's been around since 2002 will be shutting down and shutting down temporarily, but it could be potentially longer than that, considering some of the moves that they've been making. Again, Ring of Honor Wrestling, the company that's been around since 2004, 2002, actually 2002, I should say, really got big 2004, 2005, 2006. Shutting down temporarily. Let's read the statement here. This is from Sinclair Broadcasting that actually owns Ring of Honor. It says here, quote, throughout the pandemic, our top priority was to keep everyone healthy and safe. And despite not producing any live events over 18 months, we were able to keep everyone fully contracted. We now find ourselves at a time where we need to make changes to our business operations and are planning to pivot for Ring of Honor with a new mission and strategy. So, potentially going a new route here. We'll talk about that. The year will culminate, I should say, with a final battle in December. That's their pay-per-view final battle. And we will be taking the first quarter of 2022, that's about the first 4 months of 2022, to work internally to reimagine Ring of Honor. ROH has the most dedicated fans in the industry, and we appreciate the loyalty and patience as we reconceptualize ROH. We anticipate returning to live events in April for the Supercard of Honor with a new fan-focused product and provide a unique experience for wrestling fans. So, again, there you go. Cincy, welcome to the chat. Yeah, we all love Ring of Honor. It's honestly the reason that many of us are wrestling fans. A few quick notes here. So as of right now, as of this just happened today. As of right now, Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter is reporting that Ring of Honor has released everyone from their contracts. And the reason for this is probably to make sure that they are able to find potential dates after Final Battle so they can work and have something long term. And this could have a huge impact on wrestling free agency because now you have people like Bandito, the Briscoes, Danhausen, many people who are free agents and who could find themselves in AEW, who could find themselves in New Japan, who could find themselves in WWE. There's a lot of great people that are working in Ring of Honor. Quinn McKay is also someone who I think WWE would definitely get very, very quickly, but it's insane to think about Ring of Honor, shutting down, even if it is temporary. And look, it's serious when they're cutting everyone from their contracts, which they have done. They've released everyone from their contracts. That's how you know this is serious, and potentially Sinclair Broadcasting was losing money. Another note here from Brian Alvarez, also of Wrestling Observer News. He says, ROH will do tapings in November and then run Final Battle on pay-per-view. Nobody's contract will be renewed, but everyone under contract will finish out the year. So that's kind of the whole agreement here with people being cut from their contracts. They're going to finish out the year, but they're essentially free to work anywhere else. He also goes on to say they are, however, able to work anywhere they want immediately. We are told rumors that Sinclair canceled the show are not true. So Sinclair has not canceled Ring of Honor. I guess this is a way for them to potentially reimagine, as they said, Ring of Honor, and that could be a lot of things. This could mean we're going to see Ring of Honor kind of be, more broken down is a wrong term, more bare bones and rawer than it actually was. We could see it go downsized even more, which, it's insane considering the name recognition and what Ring of Honor once really meant to the wrestling industry, because before AEW and all these other promotions came up, we're talking about independent wrestling. Ring of Honor was it. They're the ones who developed stars like CM Punk. They're the ones who developed stars like Samoa Joe, the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, introduced people like Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. So it is insane that those words, that Ring of Honor is shutting down, are coming out of my mouth. It's insane. I'm at a loss for words, honestly. I can reread the statement for those of you who are just joining us. Hello, TikTok app. From Texas. What's up? What's up from Maryland? Again, let's read through this statement one more time. This is from Sinclair Broadcasting, who are the owners, proprietors of Ring of Honor Wrestling. They said, throughout the pandemic, our top priority was to keep everyone healthy and safe, and despite not producing any live events for over 18 months, we were able to keep everyone fully contracted. We now found ourselves at the time where we need to make changes to our business operations and are planning a pivot for Ring of Honor with a new mission and strategy. The year will culminate with a final battle in December, the final battle pay-per-view, of course, and we will be taking the first quarter, the first few months of 2022, to work internally to imagine ROH. ROH has the most dedicated fans in the industry, and we appreciate their loyalty and patience as we reconceptualize ROH. We anticipate returning to live events in April for Supercard of Honor, so they do plan to return for Supercard of Honor, their yearly event, with a new fan-focused product. Dave Meltzer noted, as I said earlier, that Ring of Honor talents are now free to work everywhere. They have been essentially released from their contract. They are still going to finish out the year and finish out Final Battle and do some tapings, but because of the situation, because Ring of Honor doesn't want to leave them out high and dry, and they want them to hopefully find work, they are going to allow their talents, even their exclusive talents, to work wherever they want immediately. And, part of this is, Ring of Honor and what that meant and the history and everything goes into that. But the other part of this whole scenario that's happening right now is with all of these talents who are going to be essentially free agents. And I mentioned a few of them. You guys can mention whoever you guys want in the chat. Please let me know of some talents you want to see from Ring of Honor go elsewhere. But you have people like the Briscoes I mentioned. You have people like Bandito. You have people like Quinn McKay. You have, people like Chelsea Green, Danhausen, arguably one of the most, if not the most popular wrestler right now in that entire company. You have all of these people who potentially could be free agents going to AEW, going to NXT, going to WWE, going to all of these places. The possibilities are now endless. And it's shocking, that this happened, because we usually hear rumors about these things before they happen. But I think this is the talent pool that Ring of Honor has that have now almost immediately become free agents. It is going to completely change the landscape of wrestling. I truly believe that. Whether they go to NXT, some of them are ready to go to the main roster. You could totally see someone like the Briscoes going into AEW and immediately being put in a primetime spot in that tag team division. The Briscoes versus Penta and Rey Fenix. That's going to be an amazing matchup. And, Ring of Honor, what are they going to do with Danhausen? He, again, was arguably the fastest rising star in wrestling outside of AEW or WWE. And he's a free agent now, basically. You have other people like Dragon Lee, who's the television champion. You've got, other people like Kenny Young, who's one half of the tag team champions. A lot of other people who could potentially make moves. Kevin Abreu is in the chat. Welcome, Kevin. Damn, they released everybody. Yeah, they did. Again, for those of you who don't know, Ring of Honor will be shutting down after Final Battle in December. They plan to return in April. They're going to take some time to, quote, reconceptualize and reimagine Ring of Honor and what that will be. But the big thing is, after Final Battle, everyone will be a free agent. And even as of this moment, all Ring of Honor talents, no matter who they are, no matter how exclusive their contracts are 100% free to work anywhere they want because of the impending shutdown, because of the impending, I don't want to say closure, but the temporary closure of Ring of Honor. Jay Lethal, as Cincy Edits in the chat just mentioned, Jay Lethal is a potential name that any wrestling company, whether it's in the United States, Mexico, wherever, Japan, any wrestling company would be 100%, going after. You also have the Ring of Honor Women's Champion Roxy. Well, where is she gonna go? She's young. She's like 19 years old. He's like, and that is someone you can mold into someone into a superstar one day. So that is, I'm sorry. I'm again at a loss for words. I'm not gonna read it out again, but I will put the statement up on the screen just so anyone who's joining can read. Let me know what you guys think. What is your reaction to this news of Ring of Honor shutting down temporarily, releasing everyone from their contracts? Now everyone in Ring of Honor is free to work wherever they want. It's shocking. It is shocking. I will kind of go over what this might mean for Ring of Honor, what a reimagined Ring of Honor might look like, what, this means for wrestling, in the United States. But man, the sheer amount of talent that could be going anywhere is just unimaginable. Guys, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. It helps out the algorithm, helps the channel grow. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. And yeah, so since the edits, you mentioned Jay Lethal, absolutely a name that is going to be a top priority, you would think, for many wrestling companies, almost everyone out there. He's an unquestionable, elite talent. I truly believe that. Pardon the pun. The Briscoes to AEW, says AT. Of course, that's the most logical scenario I could see happening, with the Briscoes going to AEW, really bolstering up and adding some extra oomph to that tag team division. Those matches, like I said, between Rey Fenix and Penta and the Briscoes would be great. ABB in the chat, welcome ABB, says, when I saw this a few hours ago, I was speechless, really shocked. It does not look good. It does not look good at all. Again, Ring of Honor shutting down for the next few months, releasing everyone from their contracts. That's not a good sign. It means, and look, I want to be clear about this. Sinclair Broadcasting, this is not a company that's like, like really hungry for money or whatever. This is a multi-billion-dollar company. They have the means to keep funding Ring of Honor. I think the larger issue is Ring of Honor has not been profitable, or as profitable as one they would like. The pandemic might have, exacerbated things. It definitely exacerbated things. Like it said, they didn't run any events for 18 months, and they were paying out contracts. So you could see potentially that being a reason why Ring of Honor, and Sinclair Broadcasting went this route to kind of basically go dark for 3 months and come out with a new and improved Ring of Honor. We'll see what happens here. Sophia has joined. Welcome, Sophia. Kerwin Abreu says Kenny King will probably be going back to Impact Wrestling. Yep, Kenny King, I could totally see him going back to Impact Wrestling. He had the time of his, honestly, some of the best matches of his career there. I like the work he's been doing in Ring of Honor lately as one half of the tag champions, but I could see him going back to Impact Wrestling and him having a good run there. Rush going to AEW, says Sophia. That's an interesting combo right there. ABB says they were probably the best company in terms of COVID restrictions and keeping everyone safe. Now this is how it hurts them. Could AEW help out with Bryan and Punk coming over for a few shows to help? I mean, I think that's definitely potentially in the works. Look, no matter what, the brand of Ring of Honor is, I think, always going to entice hardcore wrestling fans, especially, to at least keep up with it. And there's going to be a large segment of those fans who are going to keep on watching, at least until, hopefully they don't do this, but at least until it's run into the ground. But I don't really think that we're going to get to that point. I think they're going to, hopefully they play it smart. However, I could see Tony Khan definitely lending that out because, he wants to lean into that hardcore fan base as well. And I think working with Ring of Honor, the fact that Ring of Honor is going to be restarting and having that, bringing back Punk and Bryan would definitely help that rebuild, that restart, what have you. So I could totally see that, and it would be just a cool visual to see CM Punk and Bryan Danielson back in Ring of Honor. And if anyone's going to be open to that idea, you would have to imagine it would be Tony Khan. Tony Khan has always been one of those guys who wants to see those cool moments. he reunited Roppongi Vice on AEW Dark. So anything could happen. Sophia in the chat says Flip Gordon will be headed to AEW to face Sammy Guevara. That's a really good matchup. Look, I genuinely believe you are going to see a lot of these guys and girls at least do a few one-offs in AEW. And I think this could be a very cool thing for AEW or, even WWE. I think WWE would not be as open to this as AEW because WWE is kind of like more of a system-oriented product. But, and again, who knows? They might do it, and if they do, amazing. But AEW is a more likely scenario for doing this. I could totally see AEW, coming in bringing people in and one at a time, and you could have something with Sammy Guevara. He's on a run where he's facing every week these young and up-and-coming stars who were formerly stars in Ring of Honor, and they would get some name recognition, they would get some exposure as well. So that is definitely something that could happen. Sophia says, honestly, I can see ROH Quinn McKay joining AEW teaming up with Ruby Soho. I think Quinn McKay would be a big get for AEW, but I think WWE are gonna try to get Quinn McKay. I think she's very versatile. One thing that WWE really likes, and this is, it could be good or bad. It's not my opinion, but it's what they're known for. What WWE likes to do, they do like to get, female talent who have the ability to speak and do a little bit of versatile things as well as compete in the ring. They've really honed in on that, and those are a lot of the people they've targeted in the past. I could 100% see Quinn McKay fitting into what WWE does and them going hard after her. I think that would be a great fit, honestly, for her as well. Not saying she wouldn't be a good fit in AEW. I think she'd just be a better fit and probably have more to do on a week-to-week basis in WWE, but I could be wrong. ABB says, great work as always, Omar. Thank you so much, ABB. Thank you guys so much for keeping up with my work and everything. Guys, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. It helps out the algorithm, helps the channel grow, as I like to make it clear all the time. Subscribe for daily videos. Hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the chat. Please put your questions in the chat. Let me know what you think. Let me know your reaction to this, because in a second I'll talk about kind of what Ring of Honor meant to me or has meant to me over the past number of years, and I think a lot of wrestling fans. I'll talk about that in a second, but put your questions in the chat. Put your memories of Ring of Honor, what your reaction is to this news. Again, I won't directly read it again, but I will put the statement that Sinclair Broadcasting has put out. Again, this is a statement from Sinclair Broadcasting today, announcing that Ring of Honor will be shutting down for the next number of months. According to Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, all of the talent are now open to and free to work anywhere they want as of right now, as immediately. On top of that, they're hoping, and I think most of the talent will finish out their contracts at Final Battle next month. After that, they're going to go dark, and then in April, they're planning to have some sort of a reimagined Ring of Honor come back in the form at Supercard of Honor. So you can read the statement. It's right up there. And if you like it, hit that like button as well. But, I there's a lot, I went over, who could possibly go to Ring of Honor or go from Ring of Honor or who from Ring of Honor could go somewhere else. I think that's like the natural thought you would think after you've kind of processed this news. But I think that the most shocking thing about this is, for a very long time, and I think I can speak for a lot of people when I say this, for people who are hardcore wrestling fans and as young as I am, in your 20s or what have you, Ring of Honor was there was always Impact Wrestling, but Ring of Honor was kind of like almost the ugly stepchild, but that had probably the best wrestling in the world. And it was kind of hard to find when I was growing up. But when you did find, a gem like Danielson versus Omega or matches like that, or Danielson versus Sabre, you would watch those matches and be amazed, just flat out amazed at what these people were doing, and then you would go back and you would find, Punk, and I think part of the reason it was like so appealing to people my age, and a lot of people, especially in the mid 2000s, was because it was so bare bones and it had that kind of like almost backyard renegade feel, very similarly to ECW. I think they're different styles, obviously, but in a lot of ways, Ring of Honor to fans of my generation was kind of like what ECW was to fans of the '90s. But it was, so it kind of had that feel. It had that like real, like, that really cool feeling. Like, oh man, you see that Ring of Honor match? Like, oh, shit was dope. And then it evolved and evolved into just like, the king of the indies. Like, Ring of Honor would kind of just be churning out talent, and they had so much great talent. You could like 2014, 2015 WWE, like almost half the new talent coming in, or actually a majority of the new talent coming in, were Ring of Honor talents. Whether it's Finn Balor, whether it's Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, who was Claudio in Ring of Honor. Sorry, and you have other people like AJ Styles, who after he left Impact, where he spent like almost a decade, he goes to Ring of Honor, and he has one of the best like 2-year runs in Ring of Honor in New Japan that I've ever seen. He became a megastar in Ring of Honor, and he kind of proved that you can become that megastar in Ring of Honor. And Adam Cole and the Young Bucks, obviously. You have the Briscoes, and Ring of Honor is I think going to have a special place in a lot of people's heart for a very long time. And we always thought, it's weird because I think AEW is kind of what a lot of like hardcore wrestling fans wish Ring of Honor could become. And I mean that in the best way, because AEW had, the confidence and the monetary confidence of Tony Khan and Shahid Khan to the level that Ring of Honor never had with Sinclair Broadcasting. As far as taking it to that next level and presenting it in that way. Ring of Honor always had that bare bones type of feel, even when they got the higher upgraded on camera equipment and things like that. Look at it, like they always had like, these types of very, very small sets, but that's the intimate feel is also kind of what made it Ring of Honor, it is yeah, man. It's like ABB kind of said earlier, it kind of does leave you a little speechless just to think about Ring of Honor not being there, because there was a while, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't keep up too much with Ring of Honor, like, in 2019, like when AEW was there and WWE were doing their thing, New Japan, like I kind of got lost in the shuffle. And then like right as the pandemic started, I started trying to pay attention a little more, and then pandemic happened and they closed down for 18 months. They were still paying their talent, so good on them for that. But but I was excited to see where they would go after this. They had this great pay-per-view earlier this year where Bandito won the ROH championship, and I thought like, oh my god, this is like such a cool pay-per-view. They have Dan freaking Housen, Danhausen, he in my opinion is going to be like, he's going to be a star. Like that is just a money gimmick that's going to entertain people. I hope I say this with the most with no offense intended to WWE fans. I really hope he doesn't go to WWE. And because and this is just true, any WWE fan knows it, and I like, there's a lot in WWE I like, a lot I don't like, that's just the truth. If Danhausen goes to WWE, he will not be Danhausen. He will be a watered down version of Danhausen. So it doesn't have to be AEW. It can be MLW. It can be AEW. It can be a new a new wrestling company. I don't care. It can be New Japan. It can be where somewhere out in England, wherever. I just really don't want him to go to WWE. Wrestling gods, if you are listening, please no WWE. But yeah, let's go to the chat because I see we have a bunch of questions and comments here. Sophia says, I think Homicide is joining the inner circle with Santana and Ortiz. That could be interesting. Maybe Homicide bringing Santana and Ortiz away from the inner circle. That could be a thing. Another likely scenario is him joining up with Eddie Kingston, who is one of his best friends. We saw Homicide at the AEW Grand Slam show kind of team up with Kingston and Moxley to take down Minoru Suzuki and Lance Archer. So that could be a thing. I could totally see him, doing like having a role, not a huge role, but a role in Ring of Honor or in AEW. Aaron Thomas says, I work with a few wrestlers in AEW and they are shocked. Man, I can't believe, honestly, it's crazy to think that, AEW is Ring of Honor is like shutting down because, like I said, so many people always thought no matter what, it was always going to be there. And that's where a lot of even AEW talent got their start. Like I said the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega. You can point to the entire Elite. They really made it big. Even Cody was already, a superstar, right, in WWE, and he had the name recognition from there. But his wrestling persona and everything, he kicked it into a whole entirely different gear when he got to Ring of Honor, and that's where we really got to see, the American Nightmare and this main event version of Cody Rhodes that we're still seeing today, who I still think can be like, a huge fixture in the main event scene for any wrestling company. Yeah, so let's just continue reading the chats. Guys, if you have any questions, comments, please put them in the chat. And hit that like button. Also, subscribe so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Sophia says Dragon Lee versus Rey Fenix would be an amazing match on Rampage. Book it, please, Tony Khan. Book it. Ring of Honor had AJ Styles. Yes, they did. Leo Rush versus Adam Cole. Well, I mean, look, that doesn't have anything to do with Ring of Honor right now. But yes, please. Leo Rush versus Adam Cole. CM Punk versus Bryan. That's going to happen. That could be something they could even do at a return show in April. Like have CM Punk and Bryan at that return show to kind of make, and again, Tony Khan would have to be cool with it, but I think that would drum up, excitement for AEW and Ring of Honor equally too. Let me get Ray Hours versus Rey Fenix. Yep. On Rampage. Sophia really loves Rampage, doesn't she? The Briscoe brothers should face Santana and Ortiz on Rampage. The Briscoe brothers should face definitely Santana and Ortiz. They should definitely face Rey Fenix and Pentagon for the tag titles in AEW. Sophia says I don't see him going to WWE. I'm assuming you mean Danhausen. I don't see. I would hope not. We have Mr. DERHJ. Sorry if I can't pronounce that. Mr. says Real, where do you think Roxy will go? I think she has potential. She's 19 years old. She is, the women's world champion down in Ring of Honor. She could go anywhere and I think be very successful. I could totally see WWE. I think NXT. I think that would be honestly even a good place for her to go because it would allow her to really, learn kind of like what it means to be a star and like work like that and in front of a grand stage on a weekly program. I think she would be good there. I think she could work in AEW as well. But I think she would definitely have a better spot, if that makes sense, in NXT, and a more consistent role because, like, let's be honest, AEW, like, as great as a lot of the talent in AEW are, WWE is still better at, booking female talent, at least, overall, I would say. AEW still has a ways to go there. But yeah, Roxy versus Ty Conti is a dream match. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. But yeah, for those of you who don't know the news, I will put it up one last time. Ring of Honor, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but Ring of Honor, Sinclair Broadcasting is temporarily shutting down Ring of Honor for the first few months of the 2022 calendar year. They cited, I'm assuming, financial difficulties from the pandemic, and all of the current roster will get paid out through Final Battle, but they are immediately able to work anywhere they want at all. They have no limitations as far as that front goes. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to a lot of these major level talent. Where would Jonathan Gresham go? Says One Star Music. Probably the biggest name on the roster. I agree. Jonathan Gresham is like one hell of a talent. Considering like how big he is, I could honestly see Gresham going. I think he does fit a lot of the AEW mold as far as the kind of background he has. Especially like back in his days in Chikara and XPW. But he could be a star anywhere. I would, if I had to bet on it, I've had to bet on it. I would say I would lean towards either Impact or AEW. But who knows? There's going to be so much talent, available that we honestly, it's going to be hard to guess other than a few names. Like the things that that really jump out to me: Quinn McKay to WWE and the Briscoes to AEW. Those are the big ones that really stand out to me the most. Bandito also could be on his way to AEW, I think. And look, it could be an interesting storyline, like an invasion kind of storyline you could do. And the possibilities are endless. And I like to say that a lot. I know about wrestling, but it's true. But I think I've covered this as much as one possibly can in the span of 30 minutes. But please, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever new video is released. We got daily videos on pro wrestling, the NFL, the NBA, and much, much more. Also, be sure to check out Real Take Sports Talk live here tonight at 9 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. Subscribe, hit that notification bell for that. We're going to be joined tonight by the folks at HMO Podcast, Dro and Brooks from HMO Podcast. They're going to be chilling and talking about sports, the NFL, the NBA, all that jazz. But Ring of Honor temporarily shutting down for the first few months of the year 2022. News that has shocked everyone. Definitely me, someone who's been a fan of Ring of Honor for a while. All we can do, we'll talk about it obviously more on Tuesday, on the Tuesday show. We'll take Wrestle Talk live here on Tuesdays, but we'll talk more about it then. But until then, keep it real.